In 1992, The Last of the Mohicans made cinematic history with its breathtaking visuals, powerful storytelling, and unforgettable performances. The film didn't just dazzle audiences with its stunning landscapes and intense battle scenes, it became a timeless legend through its tragic romance and gripping tales of survival. Yet more than 3 decades later, the real stories behind the film are far more complex and haunting than what we saw on screen. Fame, illness, hardship, and even tragedy have followed the cast of The Last of the Mohicans. But who among them is still with us today? Have those once brilliant stars managed to overcome life's toughest challenges? Stay tuned as we uncover the little-known truths behind this remarkable film. If you agree with what we've shared, drop a 1 in the comments. If you see things differently, comment 0 and tell us why. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Now let's begin the journey. Russell Means, forever remembered as Chingachgook, the last great warrior of the Mohican tribe, was much more than a talented actor. He embodied pride, resilience, and depth, bringing authenticity and spirit to every scene he touched. Chingachgook wasn't just a role for him, he became a living symbol of Native American strength and perseverance. For Russell, acting wasn't merely a profession, it was a way of expressing his people's story. Every glance, every word carried the weight of his heritage and the heartbeat of his culture. After the stage lights faded, Russell's life was anything but simple. He wasn't just an actor, he was a driving force in the American Indian movement AAM, fighting not only for native rights, but also to protect the traditions and spirit of his people. It was a demanding path, yet Russell gave it everything he had. During the filming of Thunderheart, he traveled thousands of miles across harsh, barren landscapes for his scenes, only to return and lead rallies for Native American justice. The grueling production of Natural-Born Killers tested his limits so severely that he once collapsed on set. But when he regained consciousness, he smiled and said softly, "If I've survived war and poverty, no film can bring me down." Even the strongest warriors face battles they cannot win. Esophageal cancer crept in quietly, slowly draining Russell's strength, but not his spirit. Though his voice weakened, he never stopped speaking out for his people. In his later years, he often sat on his porch watching the sunset, saying, "If I die, let them remember that a Mohican once lived." Russell Means, who portrayed Chingachgook at age 53, passed away on October 22, 2012, at the age of 72, after a long and courageous fight with cancer. At the time, his net worth was estimated at around $500,000, including his South Dakota home, and a treasured collection of Native American artifacts he had lovingly preserved. We all remember the proud French General Montcalm. Patrice Chéreau brought this character to life with calm, soulful eyes, the heavy bearing of duty, and the quiet dignity of a man who foresaw his death with honor amid the chaos of war. Though General Montcalm appeared in only a handful of scenes, Patrice's moving portrayal left a deep and lasting impression. He showed not just the brutality of battle, but also the humanity within it, the pain, honor, and inner conflict of those forced to fight in a war that none could truly win. In real life, Patrice Chéreau lived with fierce passion, a perfectionist constantly at war with himself. During the filming of Queen Margot, 6 months of grueling, blood-soaked scenes left him utterly exhausted. On sleepless nights, he would stare at the ceiling, his heart racing from stress, still hearing the screams of his characters echoing in his mind. Yet he never surrendered. When scandal struck and public criticism mounted as friends drifted away, Patrice stood firm. "I'm not afraid of the truth," he once said. "I only fear the moment when art begins to lie." The more he was tested, the more fiercely creative he became. In his final years, even as illness tormented him, Patrice continued to direct theater, opera, and film as if every remaining moment was a flame he refused to let die. But lung cancer struck suddenly, and the man who had once set the art world ablaze now lay quietly in a hospital bed, still wearing that calm, knowing smile. He once reflected, "I've spent my whole life speaking of human pain. Now all that's left is simply Patrice Chéreau." Patrice Chéreau portrayed General Montcalm at age 48 and passed away on October 7, 2013 at 68 after a long battle with lung cancer. His net worth was estimated at around $10 million, including his Paris residence and a priceless art collection he cherished all his life. Maurice Roaves, who played Colonel Edmund Monroe, brought to life a man burdened by duty and heartbreak. His Monroe was a father torn between responsibility and love, a soldier whose stern demeanor masked deep sorrow. With weary eyes that seemed to carry the pain of countless losses, Maurice made viewers feel that war doesn't just take lives, it consumes souls. A single glance from him was enough to move audiences to silence. Off-screen, Maurice, too, had fought his share of personal battles, giving his performances an authenticity that could only come from lived experience. During the filming of The Eagle Has Landed, Maurice battled pneumonia brought on by the freezing set conditions. Many thought he wouldn't be able to continue, but he refused to quit. On Straw Dogs, the intensity of the violent scenes and relentless pressure from the director left him sleepless for nights. He once reflected, "Some roles forced me to rediscover who I was, and sometimes I wasn't sure I'd find that person again." Yet true to his nature, Maurice turned his pain into power, transforming every hardship into raw emotion and strength that defined his unforgettable performances. In his later years, Maurice never stopped working, as if slowing down meant fading away. From stern judges to men entangled in dark conspiracies, he built a legacy as a seasoned actor, one who could be both unyielding and deeply human. But even the strongest spirit can't outrun time. His heart began to fail, his breathing grew shallow, and he knew his final curtain was drawing near. Still, even with an oxygen tank by his side, Maurice clung to his scripts, telling himself, "I still have one more role to play." Maurice Roaves portrayed Colonel Edmund Monroe at age 55. He passed away on July 14, 2020 at 83 after a long battle with heart and respiratory illness. Dennis Banks, who portrayed Ongowa's Gone, embodied the quiet strength of a Mohican warrior whose eyes told stories words never could. His character needed no dialogue. His silence spoke of centuries of pain, pride, and endurance. Standing tall and solemn, he became a living symbol of a people nearly forgotten. Dennis himself was not only an actor but also a devoted leader of the American Indian movement AIM, carrying the weighty duty of giving his people a voice in a world that too often refused to listen. During the filming of Thunderheart, Dennis crossed rugged mountains in freezing conditions, attended press conferences, and led community meetings, all while embodying his role as a living symbol of Native resilience. Though his body grew tired, his spirit never dimmed. He often said, "If I stay silent, who will speak for us?" A vow he lived by every single day. Over the years, despite facing lawsuits, criticism, and the toll of exhaustion, Dennis pressed on, unwavering in his mission and his purpose. After undergoing heart surgery and later battling pneumonia that made every breath a struggle, Dennis still found the strength to complete his final speaking engagements. He knew his time was short, yet he refused to leave this world without finishing what he started. Dennis Banks portrayed Ongo Was Gone at age 55 and passed away on October 29, 2017 at 80 from complications of pneumonia. His estimated net worth was around $1 million, which included his Minnesota home and a treasured collection of native artifacts he carefully preserved throughout his life. Pete Postlethwaite, as Captain Beams, embodied the essence of a stoic British officer, stern, loyal, and deeply human. His piercing eyes revealed both the steel of duty and the quiet loneliness of command. Through subtle gestures and measured silence, Pete conveyed the honor and burden of leadership. On the battlefield, every glance and pause felt like a final breath of dignity. His portrayal gave audiences a powerful, introspective figure, one defined by sacrifice, integrity, and the quiet tragedy of war. Off-screen, Pete Postlethwaite's life was far from tranquil. He was the kind of actor who gave everything mind, body, and soul, often pushing himself beyond his limits. During the filming of In the Name of the Father, 1993, Pete nearly collapsed from sheer exhaustion. Endless shooting days and suffocating prison scenes forced him to live every moment of a father's grief so deeply that after each take, he had to sit alone for hours just to steady himself again. Then came The Usual Suspects, 1995, bringing new challenges. Long night shoots, heavy dialogue, and the pressure of keeping pace with an all-star cast took a heavy toll. Though he appeared calm and in control, few knew that Pete trembled with fatigue every time he stepped off set. His road to success had been long and unforgiving, but when recognition finally came, it came like a storm. His Oscar nomination for In the Name of the Father turned Pete into a benchmark for great supporting performances, proving that an actor doesn't need to be the lead to be unforgettable. Steven Spielberg once called him the best actor in the world. Pete simply smiled and replied, he must have gotten it wrong. Behind that humble smile was a man who had traded his health, youth, and heart for the love of his craft. When pancreatic cancer struck, Pete's resolve never wavered. In his final year, though frail and thin, he returned to the screen in Inception and The Town, performing with the same intensity and grace, as if he knew these roles would be his final farewell. Pete Postlethwaite portrayed Captain Beams at age 46 and passed away on January 2, 2011 at 64 after a courageous battle with pancreatic cancer. His net worth was estimated at around $2 million, including his home in Shropshire, and a beloved collection of vintage cars. If you agree with the story, drop a 1 in the comments. If you see it differently, type 0 and share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Stay tuned as we continue uncovering the touching and powerful stories behind the last of the Mohicans. As Hawkeye, a man emerging from the wilderness carrying the spirit of freedom and unyielding justice, Daniel Day-Lewis brought the character to life with remarkable intensity, precision, and soul. Hawkeye wasn't just a warrior caught between worlds. He was a living symbol of resilience and moral strength, fighting for what was right in a violent and divided land. On screen, Daniel didn't just save lives, he seemed to rescue a piece of humanity itself from the chaos around him. To truly embody the role Daniel didn't act, he became Hawkeye. He slept in the forest, hunted his own food-crafted weapons by hand, and carried his rifle through every scene, rain or shine. But the cost of such perfection was immense. He was left physically drained, suffering from severe pain in his left foot, and confined to a wheelchair for months due to a spinal injury. Yet even that didn't stop him. In Gangs of New York, he pushed himself once more, learning blacksmithing, enduring freezing conditions, and refusing warm clothing because his character wouldn't have worn it. His body ached, but his eyes still burned with fire. Daniel wasn't merely performing, he was living every heartbeat of his characters. That pain and dedication were rewarded with 3 Academy Awards for My Left Foot, There Will Be Blood, and Lincoln. Each was more than an accolade, it was proof of a man willing to sacrifice everything for his craft. Yet behind the brilliance was a soul worn thin. He once confessed, "Every time I finish a role, I feel as if I've died." Perhaps that's why in 2017, Daniel chose to step away from acting, retiring at the peak of his career to preserve what was left of himself. Daniel Day-Lewis portrayed Hawkeye at 35 years old. As of 2025, he is 68 and living peacefully in Ireland with his wife and children, occasionally working as a carpenter, a lifelong passion that helped restore his spirit. His estimated net worth is around $60 million, including his homes in Ireland and a valuable collection of classic cars. Madeleine Stowe, in the role of Cora Munro, embodied the spirit of a proud and intelligent woman who dared to love amid the chaos of war. Cora was the heart of the last of the Mohicans, a rare blend of grace and quiet strength. Madeleine portrayed her with eyes that were both fierce and vulnerable, capturing a depth of emotion that made it impossible for audiences to look away. Through those eyes, she revealed a layered inner world, one filled with courage, sorrow, and longing, making Cora one of the most unforgettable heroines in cinematic history. But behind that gentle exterior was a woman both weary and resilient. During the filming of Stakeout 1987, Madeleine endured countless night shoots and long, action-heavy days. She once admitted, "I smiled for the camera, but in truth, I was just trying to stay awake." By the time she took on the role of the troubled psychiatrist in 12 Monkeys 1995, the emotional weight of the story began to take its toll, pushing her into a quiet period of melancholy. Bruce Willis once shared that Madeleine would often sit silently after filming, as if her character had drained every ounce of energy from her. After those demanding years, television became Madeleine's path to rediscovery. Her portrayal of the cold yet captivating Victoria Grayson in Revenge returned her to the spotlight. This time she was stronger, her elegance edged with tragedy and power. Yet even at the height of fame, Madeleine came to understand that recognition meant little compared to the serenity of family life. When Revenge came to its end, she chose to step back from Hollywood, dedicating her time to her husband and daughter. It was a simple but profoundly brave choice, perhaps the most authentic role she had ever played. Madeleine Stowe portrayed Cora Munro at 34. As of 2025, she is 67 years old and lives in Los Angeles, occasionally appearing on film retrospectives and classic movie programs. Her net worth is estimated at around $15 million, including her historic home and a private art collection she treasures deeply. Eric Schweig, in the role of Uncas, the last son of the Mohican tribe, captivated audiences with his quiet strength, unwavering loyalty, and gaze fixed firmly on what was right. Uncas didn't need grand speeches. A single look told the story of a people slowly fading into history, a tribe nearly forgotten by time. Eric infused the role with profound authenticity, allowing viewers to feel Uncas's grief resilience and enduring faith in justice. But reaching that level of realism came with a price. During the filming of Squanto: A Warrior's Tale, 1994, Eric suffered a foot injury while shooting in the rugged Canadian wilderness. Blood soaked through his leather shoes, Yet he kept performing until the director called cut. Years later, for the missing 2003, he went so far as to learn an ancient Apache dialect nearly lost to time. The loneliness and relentless pressure of the production left him battling chronic insomnia, but Eric never complained. He saw every role as a way to honor his native heritage, to give voice to the stories the world had long overlooked. Then life took a darker turn. Fame couldn't shield him from inner struggles. He faced periods of addiction and isolation, feeling abandoned by the very industry that once celebrated him. Yet, like Uncas standing tall amid the smoke of battle, Eric found his way back. He turned away from Hollywood and embraced the healing power of creation, crafting traditional Inuit masks carved from wood, each piece carrying the spirit of his ancestors. In time, he built a new life defined by peace, purpose, and love. Eric Schweig has since adopted 2 orphaned children, his greatest source of pride and joy. Today, he lives quietly in Vancouver, working as a carpenter and occasionally appearing in independent films that align with his values. Major Duncan Hayward, the quiet officer torn between duty and love, remains one of the most tragic and moving characters in The Last of the Mohicans. When Stephen Wington's gaze falls on Cora for the final time, it speaks volumes: pride, failure, and sacrifice, all woven into a single silent moment. Without uttering a word, that silence tells the story of a noble soul, a man who chooses death to protect honor and love. Yet off-screen, Stephen Wington paid a steep price for his craft. On the set of 1492 Conquest of Paradise, 1992, he collapsed under the blazing Spanish sun, suffering dehydration and severe weight loss after only a few weeks of filming. Intense battle scenes left his hands covered in blood, but he pressed on, saying a historical role is worth enduring a little pain. On Sleepy Hollow, 1999, grueling action sequences in heavy costumes strained his spine, requiring months of physical therapy. Still, he never gave up. In the years that followed, Stephen transitioned into television, earning praise for his composure and emotional depth in series like The Tudors and Jamestown. Supporting roles became unforgettable performances, and hardships were transformed into lessons. Beyond acting, he ventured into screenwriting and directing, finally crafting his own stories after decades in front of the camera. Stephen Wington portrayed Major Duncan Hayward at just 24. As of 2025, he is 57, living with his wife, actress Jane March, and their son in Yorkshire. His net worth is estimated at $2 million, including a historic countryside home and a treasured personal collection of scripts. Terry Kenny, in his portrayal of John Cameron, brought to life a seasoned soldier who, while not the story's focal point, left a lasting impression every time he appeared. John Cameron spoke little, but his subtle expressions and measured gestures conveyed the weight of his inner battles, allowing viewers to sense his loyalty and the quiet sorrow etched into his weathered face. Terry infused the character with rare depth, capturing the complexity of a man who had endured immense hardship, survived the brutalities of war, yet remained resilient and unwaveringly faithful. Off-screen, however, Terry's challenges were even more intense than the battlefields he depicted. In 1993, a punishing filming schedule often left him running on just a few hours of sleep each night, pushing him to the edge of exhaustion. By the time he took on the role of Tim McManus in Oz 1997-2003, a prison guard with an idealistic heart haunted by guilt, he sometimes struggled to separate himself from the character. "There were times I didn't know where McManus ended, and I began," Terry recalled. Each season left an indelible mark, yet it was through this struggle that he discovered the profound meaning of his craft. Beyond acting, Terry was a founding member of the Steppenwolf Theater, where he not only taught, but also helped build a platform for a new generation of performers. He directed plays exploring themes of loneliness, loss, and redemption, reflecting experiences he had faced himself. Looking back, Terry shared, "Every role I take on is a way for me to confront my own fears." His productions became both personal explorations and a means of confronting pain and loss through art. Terry Kenny played John Cameron at 38. As of 2025, he is 71, living in Brooklyn, New York, where he continues to teach, act, and direct independent theater productions. His estimated net worth is around $4 million, which includes a Brooklyn apartment and a private studio, where he continues to create and inspire new generations of artists. Alice Munro, the gentle and fragile daughter, is swept into the chaos of war, embodying the purest soul of the last Mohicans. In the role of Alice Jody, May delivered a performance brimming with pain, depth, and authenticity. Scenes of her running through the forest, tear-streaked and desperate, captured the helplessness of youth, as if fate itself were dragging Alice into a relentless storm of violence. Every word she spoke felt deliberate, every glance weighted with meaning. Alice became a living symbol of innocence, amidst a world of suffering and cruelty. At just 17 years old, Jody convinced audiences that she was born to inhabit that tragic universe. Yet Jody's journey was never defined by fame alone. At only 12, she stepped onto the stage and became the youngest actress ever to win Best Actress for a politically and socially charged film, pushing herself far beyond the emotional limits of a child. The pressure was immense, leading to sleepless weeks, and she later admitted she could never watch that early performance again. While working on The Gambler 1997 alongside the legendary Michael Gambon, Jody faced intense anxiety. "I always felt small and afraid," she recalled, "but that was also how I learned to stand my ground." Over the years, Jody forged a path defined not by stardom, but by artistic growth. She returned to the screen in roles such as Gentleman Jack and The Witcher, no longer the fragile girl of her youth, but a strong, mature, and deeply expressive woman. Beyond acting, she embraced writing and directing, dedicating herself to projects that amplify women's voices in film. This transformation was both challenging and inspiring, showcasing Jody's unwavering determination and passion for her craft. Jody May portrayed Alice Munro at 17. As of 2025, she is 50 years old and resides in London, balancing her work as an actress and independent filmmaker while occasionally teaching at art schools. Her net worth is estimated at around $3 million, including a cozy Hampstead apartment and a private studio where she brings her scripts and visions to life. Wes Studi, in the role of Magua, delivered one of the most haunting and complex performances in The Last of the Mohicans. More than acting, Wes fully became the character, a man both ruthless and tormented, haunted by loss and vengeance. Every appearance on screen carried not just fear, but the deep-buried pain of a soul scarred by betrayal. Magua was more than an enemy. He was a living embodiment of the suffering and emotional complexity that war can carve into a person. Much like his character, Wes Studi had navigated real darkness to find himself. Before acting, he served in the Vietnam War, learning that survival left marks that never fade. On the set of Dances with Wolves 1990, grueling horseback scenes left him exhausted, and he even fell multiple times, yet he pushed forward through every challenge. Later, while portraying a historical hero in Geronimo, an American Legend 1993, Wes carried the immense pressure of honoring Native American history. "I'm not afraid of dying on set," he once said. "I'm only afraid that people will forget who we are." Wes's perseverance and courage were finally recognized in 2019 when he became the first Native American to receive an honorary Oscar for lifetime achievement. Speaking in Cherokee on that stage, the world fell silent. This accolade was not just his, it was a triumph for countless voices erased from history. Despite his fame, Wes remains humble, living on a small farm in Santa Fe, with his wife raising horses, playing music, and teaching Cherokee to children, preserving and passing on the invaluable heritage of his people. Wes Studi portrayed Magua at 45. As of 2025, he is 78, still healthy, and continues acting celebrated as the cinematic soul of Native America. His net worth is estimated at $1 million, including his farm and home in Santa Fe. David Schofield, in his role as the sergeant, brought to life a strict, disciplined soldier, steadfastly loyal in a world slowly unraveling. The sergeant spoke little yet. His cold stare and commanding voice spoke volumes. David turned the character into a symbol of loyalty and sacrifice. A man who spent his life under orders only to realize after the war ended that he had nowhere left to return. The sergeant represents a generation of warriors who have lost both purpose and faith in the world they once devoted themselves to. During the filming of Gladiator 2000, David endured scratches and bruises from the grueling arena scenes. Later, while shooting Pirates of the Caribbean 2006-2007 Long Days at Sea, left him seasick and exhausted, nearly collapsing amidst the waves. "I was 50 years old and seasick like a child," he recalled. "But I kept going because stopping meant I had already lost." This perseverance and courage earned David respect as one of British cinema's most reliable and admired talents. Though never a headline star, he has consistently been the quiet, compelling presence in projects ranging from An American Werewolf in London to The Last Kingdom. David Schofield played the sergeant at 41. As of 2025, he is 74, living in Manchester with his family and occasionally appearing on television. He also teaches acting, sharing his experience and passion with the next generation of performers. His net worth is estimated at around $1 million, built over a career spanning more than 50 years in film and television. In the role of Major Ambrose Column, Meany portrayed a man caught between reason and conscience, a soldier who knows that in war, no one truly wins. Ambrose was more than a military officer. He was a man bearing deep responsibility and sorrow, with eyes shaped by experience and a voice weighted with fatigue and duty. Column brought the character to life, letting the audience feel the cost of sacrifice and the unwavering resolve needed to make painfully difficult decisions. Colum Meany's own artistic journey has been equally challenging. He began on the stages of Dublin, where some once considered him too ordinary to stand out. Yet this very ordinariness became his strength, allowing him to inhabit roles naturally and authentically. From the struggling father in The Snapper, 1993, to the beloved engineer Miles O'Brien in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Colum became one of the most recognizable and cherished faces in television history. The demanding filming schedules often left him joking that he had spent a full decade in the Star Trek universe. Still, he refused to be typecast. After Star Trek, Colum showcased his range in films and series such as Con Air Layer Cake, The Damned United, and Hell on Wheels, where he played a determined and ruthless Western railroad tycoon. In 2025, Colum Meaney received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Irish Academy of Film and Television, a well-earned honor for more than 50 years of dedication to the arts. He played Major Ambrose at 39. As of 2025, Colum is 72, living in Morca with his wife, French designer Inez Glorian. He still occasionally returns to the stage or appears in productions in London. His net worth is estimated at $10 million, including properties in Los Angeles, Dublin, and Morca. After 33 years, which story resonates with you, the most glory, loss, or survival? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating and heartfelt stories. Stay tuned for our next video and have an amazing day.